Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Girl Up Podcast. I'm joined today by Miss Tristana Looper.
Yeah!
And we're going to shoot from the hip.
That's it. Two Lulus not working on a Thursday.
It's a Thursday morning.
8:30.
I am working eventually today, just going to a class.
Yeah.
So I'm not just playing hooky.
Oh,
I promise.
Here we go. If you're listening, she's going to her class.
I am going to work today. So it's a rainy Thursday morning.
So nice.
You missed the rainiest of all football games last night.
Okay, but are our cleats ever going to smell normal again?
No.
They were wringing stuff out when they got home yesterday.
So Jackson went with his dad and he was changing in the car before I dropped him off. He was like, I have to get these off. And he slung the wet clothes in the car. And I was like, oh no.
Not even wet, not damp. They were soaking wet.
No, I couldn't even get my clothes off. They were so wet. It was terrible.
Oh my gosh. What about their pads and stuff? Were their pads soaking wet too?
Yeah. Oh, that bag's still in my car, zipped up. Great. Love that for me.
I love that.
No, it was a good time though. Playing in the rain was fun.
Well, and that's what Chris said. He was like, he said, this is the time that football players live for. He said, our kids got to do it at 8, 9 years old.
Under the lights, in the rain.
He's like, what a dream. What a dream for them to show.
And the little brothers, they had a ball.
Oh, Bodie was living his best life. Except when I got home, I made dinner and they were asleep within 20 minutes, exhausted.
Yeah, the rain really wore them out. It was a good game. But today, I've been waiting forever for this one.
I know.
We're talking about the Idaho Four.
What an interesting case.
This is probably the biggest case I've ever followed since it happened.
Casey Anthony, I followed, but I was younger. I was 18, 19.
I didn't follow that one.
You didn't follow? Oh,
I watched it later, but I never. No, this is the first big case I've actually followed since it happened.
Same. What drew you to them? Because I remember when I heard it on the news, I immediately was like, oh my God.
I know. I don't know what it was about that one in particular. I don't know. It's been a very mysterious, so many questions. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, and it's so relatable, I think, too. My parents dropped me off in the middle of Kentucky and were like, all right, best of luck. And I was 18, 19, 20, 21, but I didn't have any fears. I was me and my roommate, and we had a house very similar. It was just an older house, and people were in and out all the time. And so I think that's what scared me is at what point could that have been was anybody. I ever in a situation where that could have been me? And I think that's where it scared me.
Yeah.
The most about the whole case, because I saw so much of me and my friends and, college. I think it takes a little bit of that, I don't know, naiveness away, I guess, from college. You're bulletproof. At least I felt like I was bulletproof in college.
Oh, yeah. I think most college students are this is it.
Yeah. when I was like, I am free. Looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I alive?
Yeah, pretty much.
God.
No responsibilities.
I didn't work
all the time in the
college.
world.
I just
worked at Chili's a couple nights a week. It was nothing.
Chris worked at Chili's too, but I just played sports and just
had a good time.
Yeah, I was 20 years old.
Aww. And they're all model people.
Oh, they're all beautiful people.
Why, it's so sad. So anyway, if you have been living under a rock and you have not heard of the Idaho Four, it was a quadruple homicide of 4 University of Idaho students. And it was Madison Mogan, Kaylee
Gonzaga.
Because that doesn't. That's how you spell it. Anyway.
Okay, it was in my brain and now you've shuffled all the letters around.
Gonclaves? I want to say it's Gonclaves, something. I'm so sorry. Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chaplin.
Yeah.
And Madison and Kaylee were 21 and Xana and Ethan were both 20.
Young.
So young.
And I think it was right before Thanksgiving break.
It was November 13th.
Yeah, they were supposed to be going home pretty quickly.
Kaylee didn't even... Okay, so Xana, Madison, and lived in a house with Bethany and Dylan. Mm-hmm. So the 4 of them lived there. Kaylee used to live there, and she had just moved out. She was moving to Texas.
Yep. Lubbock, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, she just bought a brand new car, which is why she was there, right? Because they had grown up together.
Yes.
Which, again, is what Rex needed to, because, we all have those best friends, that they're sisters and you grow up, and she went to visit, I think, was it one last weekend?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
went back to visit for the weekend. Yeah, her Kaylee and Madison were friends since 6th grade.
No.
And they're one of the last posts, because I've gone through Kaylee's Instagram a million times, but one of her last posts was like a montage of her and Madison together,
like a tribute,
which gives me chills.
Well, did you see have you been through their TikToks too?
Yes.
And it's just, they're just kids. They're just
hanging out in their house.
Yeah, they're just kids. I mean,
which was the coolest house. I've like looked at so many different like dissections of the house and like animations of, you know, what they think happened. But that house it's such a cool college house too. And it was the place to hang out. Yeah. Have you seen all the body cam footage?
Oh yes. Of
all the noise complaints.
Well, so
and all
that's what I think a lot contributes to, maybe why they delayed the 911 call, because they were pretty much like on thin ice, right? With the,
I think so,
police department and noise complaints and,
I don't know.
Listen.
Well,
so this is what makes this case so interesting is that, and again, what's wild again is that they are real people and they really lost their lives. And so it feels almost awful to be so obsessed with the case, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like in the theories, and that it feels like a real life game, but it's sad because it is at the expense of 4.
It is incredibly sad.
Genuine, but, you know.
What is the like where big cases like this are so sensationalized? Like there's got to be a name for what that is. Like why is it so intriguing? I would love to hear from like a psychologist. Like what is the reasoning
behind
behind
the brain does that trigger?
It's not like I'm like yay or you know, like, but it is so fascinating. It's so intriguing.
I think it gives the public, if you will, you know, an opportunity to be that detective of trying to figure out. And there's a lot that we don't know, which is terrifying because what we do know is terrifying.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess we have like murder mystery parties. Like it's just like
there's a whole ID channel that stays constantly on my TV. Like it's literally on my TV all the time. And
yeah. Okay. So I guess I was just gonna go through the timeline first. I've got like a timeline of like the first. Sure. My notes are extensive. Okay. So November 12th, the day before.
Okay.
9 p.m. Xana and Ethan, who were dating, were seen at a Sigma Chi party, which was a short walk down the road from the 1122.
I think that this part of the story really resonates. I don't know. With all the shows that I watch too, it's like you had no idea that was your last few minutes of, and you went to a party and you were having fun. Like you were carefree. You probably had a few drinks. Like you're just.
The picture that Kaylee posted hours before, with all 6 of them, all 6 of them, the surviving 2 and the 4 who were, and said, so lucky to be doing life with these people.
Yeah.
Literally chills.
I know.
Okay, so 9 p.m. they go to a Sigma Chi party, and that's another thing. I'm like, Greek. I don't know if you did Greek life in college. Okay, but it was so. There's so many people. Mm-hmm. You just never. I don't know. It almost makes it scary. It wasn't back then, but there's so many people. You never saw like the same face twice. Like there's so many people everywhere, and that was at Commerce. That's tiny little. And you never nothing. And I'm like, can you imagine the party at like a big university? I don't know. So 10 p.m. the same evening. So they're at a party, 10 o'clock. Kaylee and Madison go to a sports bar in Moscow called the Corner Club. From there, at 1:30 in the morning, they're seen at a food truck ordering food.
Which is one of the theories. Did you see that Brian or somebody was at the food truck?
Yeah, I've seen lots of footage where
it wasn't Brian. There was like another man that I guess was later questioned.
Yes. They were like, did you see it? And I was like, well, I've seen that video footage and I'm like, what am I looking for?
I think there's like a man in the background. Again, these are like the theories that I've fallen into the rabbit hole. So
yeah. So 1:30 they're ordering food from a food truck. They've like dissected what they ordered. It was like a pasta carbona or something.
I'm 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah. You know what? And they look.
I know. I
wish I could eat pasta at 1:30 in the morning. Xana and Ethan get to the house about 1:45, and Kaylee and Madison get back around 1:56. I don't know how they have this.
So, and that's the thing too. So I am such a scaredy cat, literally a scaredy cat, especially like when Chris is gone. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there's a point in the night that I'm like, okay, you made it to 2-3 o'clock in the morning. You're safe. Like the sun's going to be coming up. Like the day is, you've made it through the scary part of the night, if you will.
Yes.
And so that's
your walls kind of go down.
Yeah. So that's what's wild to me at like 2 a.m. I'm like, oh, it's Sunday. Like the next day is about to start. I don't know. That's just how my brain works. So it's, to me, I would feel safe. Like, okay, it's, it's the scary part of the night. We
made it from all parties and all that. Yeah. We're home where it's safe.
I'm not vomiting, I'm dying.
Yeah. Everything is good.
Yeah.
It says that the 2 surviving roommates were out somewhere else that night and they got home about 1 a.m. So they were home first. And then later that day at 11:58 a.m., so about noon, that's when 911 is called to report an unconscious person.
So I'm telling you, this is where the can opens up for me, and I don't know if we will ever figure out why. Because I've heard too that the smell of blood was so strong that the police officer
seeping out the front.
Well, he said that the police officer said the smell of iron was so strong that like it was like you could not smell it.
So many questions.
Yep.
Especially with the new information came out that they have they were texting the whole morning.
And they were texting while it was happening.
Yeah.
Which makes me nervous because apparently Kaylee's dad got that information out of a jury, like a juror.
A grand juror.
Yeah. And so now I'm like, it's going to compromise the case and they're going to get it tossed out. Yeah. That makes me nervous. But I've always wondered, and if you haven't lived in a party house, then I understand that coming and going, me and my roommate used to come and go all the time, but she was like my sister. So if she wasn't home or if something was wrong, I was in there checking on her. I'm pretty sure that we slept together on the couch every single night just to keep an eye on each other because so it's weird to me. But I also heard too that Xana fought back so much that her fingers down to the bone.
Yeah.
And that happened when she was awake and conscious.
Yeah. And you didn't. So I've heard audio footage from like the ring cam next door. You can hear Ethan screaming, like, get off of me. You can hear Xana screaming, like, you can hear screaming. You're telling me that from 50 feet away, they could hear that, and she was on the same floor as them, and she didn't.
Well, and they said, and I saw something from another influencer on TikTok, but they said that the scream had to be different. This wasn't like a, drunken
party.
Yeah, this was a blood-curdling, like, fighting for my life scream.
Yeah.
And then this same person also said, I can't remember her name, but said, what if she would have, like, what if they would have called 911? Like, could one of them have been saved? Like,
or what if you just went and like opened your door? You know what I mean? Like,
well, apparently she did 3 times, and then they saw the person.
Yeah.
You hear the noises, you see the person, and you go back into your room and text someone else
and say what? That's what I need to see. I need the trial to happen. I need to see her say it because she's going to have to be a witness.
Yeah. But I also think the police in this case it would be sensational if they arrested one of the roommates. So for them not to have her arrested means that there's something that we still don't know. That it's maybe literally a 19, 20-year-old girl being it doesn't make sense in my brain.
I can't make it make sense.
Yeah.
No, and really neither of them have spoken out, especially not Bethany.
No, well, and I think one of them fought she didn't want to testify.
I'm sure neither of them want to testify.
And she tried to.
But Dylan's going to have to because Dylan is the one who was on the floor with Xana and Ethan and said that she saw the man with bushy eyebrows and a mask.
It's that one I sent you, Ethan's sister-in-law, and said that she is frustrated because and then again, she called Ethan's best friend the next day. She didn't call the police. The police were still never called. It was Ethan's best friend who called the police phone. In the front yard. Why were they in the front yard?
You had to leave your house, which if there's blood dripping from everywhere. It was everywhere. And you called for an unconscious person? Like, I don't understand. You didn't look around. It was noon. You had to have smelled something.
You heard it. You saw somebody.
Their room is like here and her room is right here.
Yeah, it wasn't big. I know, and it's one of those things we'll take the, apologetic, like we don't want to victim shame anybody, but there's things that don't make sense.
I just need it to make sense. Yeah. I just need to know what happened. It's not like we'll ever know exactly what happened, I don't think, but
then he was arrested and he said, who else was
Who else was arrested?
Am I the only one arrested or something like that? So he hints towards that this could have been. However, he is very smart and he knows.
He studies criminology.
Well, those words leaved out in everybody's head, and now we're all sitting around talking, you know, about this. Who was? Do you think that they were working with him?
I have a weird feeling about Dylan. Bethany, I don't know enough about.
Yeah,
they were texting each other, so who knows? But I've seen little tiny, not enough to be substantial, but I've seen little tiny snips of things that are trying to tie Dylan and Brian together.
Okay, like what? I don't know if I've seen.
Like social media, and I don't know. I don't remember all the things that I read too much.
Yeah.
I also know that he came back to the house, and they're saying he like came back after and checked on the other roommates because his phone pinged again back at the house in the morning. I want to say like 9 a.m. Yeah. So before police were called.
So one of the theories is that he came back in.
Yeah. I don't know if they're getting their story straight. Like, I don't know if, I don't know. You know why? I don't know. She was awake. She was up texting. But still 911 wasn't called for 3 hours after that.
3 hours?
Yes.
And maybe we'll circle back to that's what made this case so bizarre is that right immediately, like,
Yeah.
Police they were killed at 4 a.m. And then also there's a lot of people say that he didn't act alone because of what's the total time span? Do you have
9 minutes? He was in the house for 9 minutes.
And killed
4 people. Like, brutally killed 4 people. So I watched a video last night, and it was like an animation. First of all, their back sliding door was unlocked on the second story. So there was no like...
He came into the second story? Is there stairs?
Yes.
Okay.
So the back balcony with the sliding glass door, he came in. It's the second story, but it's like on ground level because the basement is the first. I don't know. It's weird.
No, in Kentucky, everybody has
those
basements.
northern...
Yeah,
but
it's
a basement, but there's a front door out from it. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, it didn't take him long to get in because there was no forced entry. He came in on the second story, went up the stairs to the third story. They said started there because those girls died first, which is why they think that one of those girls was the target. So went upstairs. Now Kaylee's dog.
Wasn't he in another room?
Yes. So Kaylee's dog was in like a room with the door shut, and then across the hall, the girls were both killed in the same bed, in that room and then the door was shut. So then it was like he came in at 4:09. From what they can tell, 4:09, came in, went upstairs. That was like 3 minutes. 3 minutes. That's insane. Downstairs.
Where is that? Where they found the knife
sheath
upstairs? So I mean, in those 3 minutes, she fought for her life. I mean,
which is why I think that's why they initially thought that he started there because, like, the sheath came off there. You know what I mean? Like he took it off there, unless he took it off, put it back on, went upstairs, and then lost it, you know?
Well, and but he's, again, a mastermind, if you will.
Yeah.
When he walked out, he would have thought he would have put the knife back into it and noticed. Well, and that's what I've heard too, theories that he came back at 9 a.m.
to try to find it.
Find the, but and then you saw,
So anyway, then it says, came downstairs. It was Ethan first, and then Xana, from what they can tell, walked past. That's when Dylan came out, saw him walk past and go out the door. Or saw him walk past towards the kitchen.
3 separate times. 3 separate times.
By her own account, right? That's what she said.
Yes, it was like unsealed. Three times she heard crying, screaming or something.
She thought Kaylee was playing with the dog. That must have been when he was upstairs.
Maybe there's people out there who are normal. If Marissa, who was my college roommate, was any sort of, my nosy self would have just flung the door open. What are y'all doing? Yeah. Like, I don't care what you're doing. The house is not
big.
Right.
It's probably like it's 3 stories, but it's not big. There's like 2 rooms on each level. Like, it's small. I can hear, like, it's probably about the size of this house. I can hear Noah fart in the next room.
Yeah.
There's no, that's just the part that I'm having a hard time thinking that she's not involved, because I will say I lived with a roommate who was a little more,
particular about like her privacy.
Uh-huh.
And so she would make comments to me about
Mind your business.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so who I probably wouldn't have gone, I don't
Mhm.
know. I actually, now that I think about it, if they're, because I lived with her and her boyfriend at the time. And looking back, I don't know.
Okay. Thinking about the way that they were found, though, that's got to be
But they're sisters.
blood curdling screams.
Yeah.
And these people seem like they. Now, I mean, we don't know. It's just all speculation, but they don't seem like they had a lot of privacy.
Yeah, right. Well, and they're all sisters. This wasn't like
This is not just random.
Sign up for college and we just put you guys in a.
Now, Dylan was the newest roommate too. She had moved in. I think she almost like took Kaylee's spot. Like they were all friends. Kaylee and Dylan had gone to a formal together. Like, as they like went together a couple weeks before, so they were good friends. But she was the newest roommate. And it's just. I just have a weird feeling about her. I don't know.
It's what's again wild is that they've probably subpoenaed the text records. They've probably questioned her. From what I think, again, I've read and read and read, and so I don't know if I'm keeping everything straight. But apparently, they went after her very hard, like,
and she's not arrested,
and nothing. So it's like, what? I mean, do you think Brian did it? Mm-hmm. You do?
I do think that. Do you think he did it?
I don't know.
Okay, so let me get back to the timeline because then it's going to lead into why
I just feel like so I remember where I was when they announced the person that did it, and I was expecting it literally to be a roommate. I remember I was like, who? Yeah. Like, who?
Yes.
Is this guy?
Yeah. It's weird. He follows them all on Instagram, and he's a lot older than them.
He does follow them on Instagram. Well, and then he got on that Papa, who was just not.
I forgot about all that.
Confirmed, but that was a weird group. I had to get out of it. There's people out there who are literally nuts.
Yeah.
So on Facebook, there's a group, and I thought I was going to follow it. I think you sent it to me. And
I think I was in it for a while.
To get information.
Yeah.
And so when you sign into it or whatever, you have to agree that you won't be rude or hateful. And I was like, who would be rude or hateful about 4 people that have, I just wanted information.
Yeah.
I have never been in a group like that, that these people, I remember posting like, hey, don't forget these are humans. I got eaten alive.
Yeah.
I mean, I got roasted. And I was like, I'm done.
Saying they're
Yes. And they were like, oh, here goes another one. And I was just like, okay. I mean, there are people that are like, they aren't viewing them as people, but as a real life.
Yeah. Oh. Losing all sense of humanity.
That's it.
But there was somebody in that group name. What was the name?
Papa Roach.
Papa Roach. Yeah.
No, that's a singer.
I was like,
Papa. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be up all night.
But he was in the group Papa posting Roach. What kind of.
Isn't he a singer?
Yes. He sings I love it when you call me baby.
No, that's not him. No,
is it not?
I don't know Papa Roach. It's this guy. He sings Last Resort.
Okay. There you go.
This is my
last resort.
Yeah, suffocation.
Okay.
No, Brian.
Is that Notorious B.I.G. who sings I like it?
You just assumed Papa?
Papa Rogers.
Roach Rogers.
It was an R. Okay. So... what kind of stuff was he posting in there? I forget.
He was asking questions.
Yeah.
And then he was
very suspicious questions.
Very like baiting questions. Like, what do you think happened? Do you think this white Elantra has something to do with it?
And then boom. The white Elantra was caught on tape.
Yeah, or no, that was one of the first released information. Yeah. And he said, do you think this has something to do with the case?
Yeah.
And then he said, but then I think he came out too and said, they're going to find a sheath or something.
Here. On November 30th. So this is right after it happened. So it happened on the 13th. And on November 30th, he posted in there, of the evidence released, the murder weapon has been consistent as a large fixed blade knife. This leads me to believe they found the sheath. This evidence was released prior to autopsies.
Yeah. And at that point, they had not released. But they were on him pretty quickly because they followed him home on Christmas break. They pulled him over 2 times.
Okay. Yes. Which
here we go. We're just talking in circles here.
Okay.
Out of timeline.
So I went through that. November 17th was when the autopsy was. Reports were released that said that the 4 victims were stabbed with a large knife after 2 a.m. Sometime after 2 a.m. was what they knew. They had a vigil on the 30th, so November 30th. December 7th. So that's 3 weeks.
Yeah, not.
I need the birds to be quiet. Oh. December 7th, the police announced that they're looking for the owner of a white Hyundai Elantra, from 2011 to 13. So that's when they got all that footage everywhere. Piecing that stuff together, it's like Ring cameras and
speeding past, and it's consistent with that one part, right? And that's what he drove.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And his they figured out that his phone pinged there at...
Because didn't they pull up all the white Elantras in the area?
Yes. Right? Then you got to start weeding people out. Yeah. And it's like it's alibis and stuff. I guess, like, I don't know. And then they got to look at phone records, and his pinged there
multiple times, right?
12 times that night between those hours.
So I don't understand, like pinging. Does it just ping just to stay connected, or is that activity on the phone?
I don't know.
What does a phone pinging mean? I guess I'll ask.
Christopher, will you please call in the show? Because you think he would turn it. Well, it did turn off. It turned off from like
during the time.
It turned and it turned back on at like 4:30 or like something like that, right, driving away, going back the other way.
But somebody that's so smart, like and then again, I saw that the new argument or whatever is that he went for long drives.
His alibi is that he was on a long drive alone. Yeah. That's not an alibi.
Okay, fine, but it's conveniently...
We know that you were driving because you were over there.
Well, like conveniently, though, you were driving the night that these people...
In the middle of the night?
But I think the DNA evidence, too, they have like touch evidence, which to me is like...
You were there.
But what if one of the roommates is framing him?
Yeah.
Like took the sheath and laid it there?
Do you think...
I don't know, but when he
got brutality arrested, of the bodies leads me to believe it was probably a guy. Not that a girl couldn't do it, but
there's two people. Okay, again, another guard down. When I'm around Chris, I felt 100% safe, and I know that Xana probably felt 100% safe because her boyfriend was there too. But he went after. From what I heard, he was surprised by. Again, all of this is just stuff that I've pieced together from hearing things. But he was surprised because he wasn't expecting Ethan to be there. And so, but in that moment, again, 9 minutes, 3 minutes of, did he have time to process, like, it's a man who is probably more athletic than me. I mean, and then what was Xana doing in that moment? Like, shocked, like, oh my gosh, like.
Yeah, because, well, maybe that's why her defensive wounds are so, because I guess because Ethan went first. I'm assuming while that's happening, I would hope
screaming for your roommates. Call 911. Like,
I'm wondering because their room, I think, was right. I want to say it's right underneath Kaylee and Madison's. So I mean, I know it's only 3 minutes.
Somebody got food. Xana got food.
It's eerie because the DoorDash was dropped off 15 minutes or something before.
Again, when I saw the DoorDash, I was like, you can DoorDash at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
What?
In a college town, I'm sure they make good money. Oh, you can DoorDash because I've done it before. I've been the DoorDasher in the middle of the night. You make good tips.
Brilliant.
Anyway, the crime scene photos where it's the Jack in the Box with her name on it, and it was dropped off like 10 minutes, 15 minutes before she died.
Well, and that was another theory that I had seen, that she wasn't intended, and then he, again, that threw off the plan because he heard her or saw her or saw the exchange of the food, et cetera, et cetera. He might have seen the lights. I don't know. But I heard that they weren't even supposed to be the intended. It was just.
So then why even go out of your, if they're not, because I've heard a lot that either Kaylee or Madison was the intended. Why go from the third story and not just leave? Why go from the third story around the corner to Xana and Ethan's room?
Well, that's where I had heard that he saw her walking back into her room, or he saw Ethan, or he saw somebody. And didn't he go into the bathroom too at some point and turn the water on to rinse his knife off?
Oh, really? I haven't heard that.
From what I understand, I thought he went back into the bathroom, rinsed his knife off, and then back out the door. Which again, because Dylan said that she heard running water.
Oh. The bathroom on the second story? That's to me, if Xana and Ethan weren't, even if he saw them, he also saw Dylan. He saw Dylan when she opened her door. So if he saw them go into her room, wouldn't he? Why go out of your way to take 2 more lives if
But why not? Okay, if I've already taken 2, why didn't you just open the rest of the doors?
Why not? Yeah, why not all 6 then? Why 4 and not 6? Why 4? You know.
Let's see.
Why them and not
The sound? Okay. Everybody keeps saying the sound, like the sound bearing weight on the attacks. Wasn't, let's see here. The dog, I don't know. Yeah, so this thing, she describes hearing this and that, but it just can't be. Whatever happened, that noise was not usual partying noise either. And it was right outside her door.
Well, and she knew if she looked out, there's not a party going on.
Yeah, you
You looked out your door 3 times, there's not a party going on.
Actually, that's a really good point too.
You can, I mean, again, the house is not huge. If you look out your door, you could easily tell. Party? No.
It says, this is what Ethan's sister-in-law posted right after the murders. And again, I don't know how, this is on. Then why call your friend's boyfriend or my acronyms, best friend to come check the house before you come out of your room? That poor young man saw his good friends in that scene. Therapy for life on that one. Yeah, I hope it will come out what Dee heard. Dee supposedly called all the girls in the house after they were crying and screaming, stopped, and no one answered. And she still didn't call the police. She needs to explain herself and her actions that night. And then it says 911 caller was the friend who went into the house because Dee called him to come over because she was scared from what she had heard in the last night. He went into Xana and Ethan's room first and then called 911. Why D or B didn't call the police first is the question.
Well, there was a mom. I saw like a documentary early on, and she was like, everybody on campus knew before the police was called.
I saw that one too. I think it was on
she was like, they were snapped. I don't know exactly what all was said, but news spread fast that something was happening.
Yep, I saw that, and she said that her daughter knew.
Yeah,
before
anything happened.
It was like early, 10 or 11.
I think there was a lot of kids there by the time the police
that's what
got
I heard.
there.
That they had to get the scene under control.
Which again does not make sense to me. And then why does it say that the police was called for an unconscious person? If you walked into that room and saw that, if Xana was that brutally, why did you say?
Well, and I heard that
unconscious.
The best friend checked for Ethan's pulse, and when he realized that there was no pulse, that's when they went outside. It
just doesn't make sense.
Unless again, Koberger is such, a disgusting genius that he knew that he could cause all this speculation by calculating 2 very confused young, you know what I mean?
I mean, maybe there was more to it than that. There is
doubt now. I mean, I think there is going to be a lot of doubt in the case. Did he know that by leaving 2 alive that would cause doubt?
Maybe. Well, because now
here we are talking about it.
That's true. A lot of people have said that they were nervous to call the police because there was a lot of partying in the house and probably substance use. But I'm like, I don't care what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If my friends are dead, I'm calling the police right now. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like,
well, that high or drunk or whatever falls off. I mean, and then I feel like most normal people would be like, I could have all these drugs in my room. I don't care. Like, at least I feel like, your fight or flight goes off, and I feel like you would completely forget that you.
I just want to know what happened between. Well, I know she was awake when it happened, so
just
4 a.m. and noon.
Went to sleep. Well, and then they said that
they were texting. That's what I'm saying. They weren't. She wasn't asleep.
And then they said that one of them suffered from panic attacks, and so she went into, which I empathize with panic attacks, but like in that moment, I want somebody that's going to protect me. So at that point, I'm going to probably call the police.
I'm just gonna go back to my timeline to keep anchoring it.
But then calls all the girls, right? She calls all of the girls.
Yeah.
So she
knows something's wrong. Yeah. You're calling them at 4 a.m.
And then if they didn't answer, that's when I'm even more like, and then I'm calling again, and then I'm calling again, and then I'm calling your mom.
Well, because if you're calling and they're dead, it's quiet. It's gonna be very quiet. Yeah. You can hear their phones ringing.
Yeah, you're right.
Their phones are just ringing.
Like I would have been standing outside.
If you're standing outside the door, you could.
Well, they said, we see people coming in and out of this house again. Yeah, right. But
What?
I know.
That's not.
It doesn't make sense.
And I'm sorry, but she said in her witness statement or whatever that it was a man in a mask with bushy eyebrows. You're telling me that's normal to leave?
So 2020 me was thinking mask like COVID mask or mask like it was one of the scary...
black mask. That's what she said.
Oh no! Immediately no.
No. Yeah. Okay. So December 7th, they announced that they're looking for the owner of an Elantra. December 30th. So that's again.
Yeah, it was on New Year's. I remember when I was sitting around waiting for that.
Oh, that's the day before I got married.
This year, Chris and Hudson are going to be out of town, and I'm like, of course, I could go to the wedding this year. I could just redo this.
Police announced an arrest, so they arrested him on December 30th.
Yeah, I was shocked.
He is 28, so he's a little bit older than they are. A doctoral student at Washington State, so it's
right down the street. Which again, geography-wise, I had to go look. I was like, no way, that's close.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
Super close.
Basically, 2 colleges in one town. He's charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and burglary. Although is it still, I mean, it is because you went into someone else's house, but the door was open.
He was arrested in Pennsylvania.
He was because he was driving back. Why was his dad here driving back with him?
I think they said as a
because Washington, Pennsylvania,
protective father, like just to be there to keep him company on. But so again, it's one of those things. Like I hope they always get it right because I hope they always get it right. But he was caught throwing away trash with like rubber gloves on.
Well, the FBI posed as garbage men for days going through their trash.
And he had used gloves, right? Like latex gloves, which again is not a normal reaction.
Did you know that he also got new license plates 10 days after the murder?
See, no, I didn't.
He was issued new license plates too to change on his car.
Yeah, so he did it.
Okay. On January 4th, so he was arrested December 30th. January 4th, he's flown across the country back to Idaho to be put in jail in Idaho. On January 18th, a list of items seized from a search warrant for Kohberger's Pullman apartment.
So that's what I thought was interesting because there wasn't a lot on there.
It's a pillow with a blood stain.
But they said that didn't they come out and say that wasn't?
I don't remember.
I remember it not being like substantial.
It's like hair, disposable gloves. I think what they found in the house at his dad's house his parents' house was more.
Well, and then he had a storage locker, right?
I think so. Let's see, a list of.
Yeah, I don't.
One thing was art. So I watched this whole. I've been down so many rabbit holes, but
same.
One thing was art. I think it was Dylan that was really into drawing, and they found a lot of. They seized on the whatever they release. It says what they got. What is that called?
I don't know, Lulu.
Okay, when they tell you when the police
Audacity.
When they tell you what they actually claim, warrant. Yeah, and then they release that. I don't know. It said several pieces of art, and everyone was like, "What?" And then they went back and like were looking through Dylan's stuff, and it was like it matched.
Stop.
Yes.
Well, then where did he get it?
I don't know. From her? Are they? That's what I'm saying. I don't know. From.
But then I don't know. I've heard too that those girls, were all beautiful. They wouldn't have given him the time of day, but he's older,
Or maybe she's embarrassed. I don't know. Okay. In December, Pennsylvania authorities seized a gun, 3 knives, black face masks, black gloves, swabs of DNA, a criminal psychology textbook, and dozens of other items from his house and car. I want to see the whole list. Oh, okay. From his parents' home. Knife. Book with underlining on page 118. An AT&T bill. A Glock. A pocket knife. A folder containing vehicle paperwork. It's like what?
Right, not normal.
The things. Laptop. A green leafy substance in a green container. Okay. Documents. White paper with password. Phone cable. Cell phone. Another Glock. Books, black face mask, prescriptions, 1 black hat, 1 black mask. New Balance shoes, dark colored jacket, clear plastic gloves, another laptop, criminal psychology book, a shop vac, and they said they found like
That's what it was. The hair was
hair and DNA in the shop vac. A note to Dad from Brian. Oh my phone just lost the list. And a tailored cutlery knife with leather sheath. I'm like, why?
Right, it's not a normal. That's not a normal.
Yeah.
Usual supply list.
But I heard that he was they got all that trash from like his neighbor. Like they saw him putting a bunch of trash in his neighbor's trash cans, like several times, where he was taking things out, wearing gloves, and putting them in his neighbor's trash cans. That's not normal either. Like, no, you know, if you have no idea that the police are even on to you, because at that point he doesn't know.
I mean, right. Well, unless he's Papa Roach.
Right.
And is following the case. Well, and then they said that he was a graduate assistant, and his attitude changed from being very stern, awkward. They said he just was very harsh, graded, like very just.
He got aggressive.
Yeah, and then after the murders, he was the guy said that he was like given A's, and he was like very personable and like almost like a euphoric experience that this disgusting person went through. A lot of people have said like because he was studying criminology, he wanted to see if he could get away with it. Well, because he had asked a question, right? That was literally proof that I don't even remember what the question was, but it was literally him that asked if you committed a crime, have you gotten away with it or whatever. Remember, it was something like some talking.
Several things like that. And one was like, what did you feel after you committed the crime? Like,
well, that's what I tell Chris all the time. Like, I don't know a lot of things. Like, I don't know a lot of things in life, but I know for a fact that I'm never going to kill anybody. Like, I know that for it.
Unless self-defense, someone's trying to hurt my kids.
Well, even then, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just, so it's weird to me that there's these people that have brains, you know, that are different than, because I just.
What causes that?
Right. I mean,
what causes that?
I don't.
So his aunt has come out and said they like have an interview with his aunt. Have you heard that?
No.
Where she said she's 100% sure he's guilty. His aunt. And she was just like, he's had mental health issues forever. She was like, there was some things happening in his family around the time, and she was like, he will be convicted. He's guilty.
Oh, I remember, because didn't they bring it up at like Thanksgiving dinner or something about the case, and he like lost it or something?
Yeah.
Like, or he had like just a bizarre response, which is what triggered. And I think, didn't his sister or somebody said that he definitely, or he did it or something?
There's been multiple family members pretty close to him that have said that they thought he did it. So
it just goes back to, could we have saved their lives had there been a 911 call? Yeah,
pretty much.
I think that's maybe not and again, maybe he created this doubt.
Yeah. When he and his dad were driving back, I'm trying to find.
Yeah, he got pulled over twice, right?
He got pulled over, yes, intentionally. They were trying to look at his hands.
Oh, and I thought too, to see his like demeanor of like.
Yes, but the thing that I read said they really wanted to look at his hands. I don't know if it's just because of the defensive wounds from Xana or whatever, but this is when they pull him over. That's like what, 4 weeks after, 3 weeks after, because it wasn't right. But he didn't get arrested.
It was Christmas break. It was on the so it was. But 3 weeks.
It was a few, but it was probably right in the middle. And they pull him over for, I don't know, following too close or whatever. And have you seen that? Have you seen that? So Zach, one time he's following me home and he got pulled over for following too close.
Stop! I got like for an 18-wheeler on the way home from college, and then the guy was like, "Can I search your car?" And I was like, "For what?"
Sure.
Yeah. What help for the? I'm filthy.
His dad brings up the case. Where do I have it?
To the police officer?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Let's see. Okay. Too many notes. Where do I have it about them driving? I don't know, but they pull him over and the dad is talking about the case or another I think there was like another incident that happened the day after, the day before, very close to there was also like a shooting, I think, at a college around there. So I don't know. He brought up one of those cases. And did you see the videos when he gets pulled over? Have you watched those?
So I'm so bad at reading, like, but I had heard, and now I'm like, but the cop said that when he went up to the car and he told him, I'm not going to write you a ticket. He said, most people relax. He said, most people were like, okay. He said, but he was on that, like,
his face
tense,
looks
like the whole time. He said, that's when I knew that, like, we had the right guy, because he never relaxed. Like, he
looked angry the whole time. Like, he was just glaring, like, he's staring at him like this. Like, I don't know.
Well, then his dad is, his dad's just like, he's like, going to a Chinese restaurant down the road. And Brian's like, stop
talking to this cop. Yeah. I wonder if his parents know either, I wonder if he has.
I don't know. That's a whole nother thing too, that just breaks my heart, because that is.
Yeah.
I mean, you raise your kids up and expect them to do all things right. And
yeah, I cannot imagine being the parents of someone who did that. Like,
yeah. Right.
The guilt that I would feel forever too.
Right.
I'm sorry that my child took your child's life. Like, I couldn't.
It's unimaginable.
So they pull him over the first time for following too close, and then 9 minutes later they pull him over again.
Like, the feeling of that, like, as a normal person like me,
I would be like, but I don't think they react angry. Now the videos of the dad the whole time, because he's just like,
they're probably laughing.
And Brian is like,
in a normal interaction, my dad would be like, "What are you? Stop! Let me drive."
Well, the dad's driving.
Oh, he is driving.
The dad's driving. Brian is riding.
I thought it was the other way around. But.
No, and so I'm sure his dad is like, "Well," what? And Brian is probably. What do you think? I don't know. A normal person would be freaking out. What do you think a psychopath is feeling when
that second time? Well, as a very guilty person, like, I don't even do anything, and I'm like, it was me. I'll tell you the time in college, but at this point, I'd be like, I'm about to be arrested. Mm-hmm. They know something, and didn't they do it to, like, kind of spook him?
Yes,
which is maybe why he went home and acted like a.
Well, he had to know at that point that they were on to him,
but he didn't. He kept posting. Mm-hmm. As Papa Roach,
the pride. The
ego,
the need to be involved in the case is a very common thing. A lot of times they go back to, news reports. You'll see them in, like, the background of.
Oh yeah, like the vigils and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Well, there was a video of the vigil, and they swear he was there. Like, and it's like, I think it was like the side and the back, and it does look like him, but at the vigil.
But nobody has stepped up and said, like, "Nah, that was me."
No.
Gross.
Yeah. So then anyway, he drives all the way back. Okay, the FBI reportedly tracked Kohberger and his father from Washington to Pennsylvania and asked Indiana cops to pull him over to secure images of his hands, a law enforcement told Fox. Indiana authorities pulled him over twice. Oh, this is what I was looking for a second ago. On December 15th, first, county sheriff stopped him for following another vehicle too closely. At the time, there was no information available on a suspect for the crime in Idaho. 9 minutes later, a state trooper stopped Kohberger, but let him go with a warning after he heard that Kohberger had been stopped a few minutes earlier. The trooper, having learned the two had been stopped minutes before by a deputy who he knew was working just down the interstate from him, used his discretion and released the two men with a verbal warning.
Yeah, and that's the guy that was like, normal people relax, and he said this guy never.
Yeah.
Like. Relaxed. It was more of a still like a fight or flight.
The Times reported that Kohberger did receive new license plates for the car 5 days after the murders.
Which means to me it was planned that he knew those were. You have to apply to those, right?
That takes a while to come in. A couple weeks at least. But if you knew you're going to be driving there, first of all, I mean, I'm not a criminal, but if you know you're going to be driving to the crime scene, wouldn't you use a different car altogether?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's either arrogant, an idiot, or brilliant. I mean, it's maybe a splash of all three, because I
mean, maybe he thought the new license plates would be enough.
But the pinging of the phone, like, come on. I feel like in this day and age, like, it's...
Leave your phone at home? Why do you need it? You know where you're going.
Yeah.
I mean,
But it didn't ping at. He turned it off, and then it pinged at their house, or I guess when he was there or leaving or whatever. But then it pinged right back at his house, right? Like he went there and back.
Yes, I think he went to like a forest on his way home.
A forest, that's concerning.
Yeah, that's where they think the knife is probably somewhere out there.
They have not found it.
They never did find it. November 13th. I'm going to see if I can figure out the exact times and where it pinged.
Oh, wow. I had not heard that.
Let's see. Officers determined that the phone registered to Koberger, who is charged with 4 counts. Blah, blah, blah.
So disgusting.
Pinged at the crime scene again around 9 a.m. that same day. So it did ping back at 9 a.m. that same day. So he did go back.
Okay, good. So you're going for a drive.
Yeah.
But you went back, like...
Let's see. I need the details.
And the ping, from what I understand, they're very small. Like, they're able to pinpoint...
exactly where it is. Well, yeah.
At least what I understand.
These day and age with these smartphones, they can tell you. I mean, I could drop a pin to you and you could literally see what
coordinates or whatever.
Well, when I follow your location, I could see like what room you are in your house pretty much.
Can you really? CC.
Well, it comes in handy like with Casey at work. Like she'll lose her phone and I'm like, no, it's here. It's in your classroom. Look. Like I can see. Yeah.
That's the only reason I have a watch to ping my phone because I cannot keep.
Okay, I have a watch and I don't know how to ping my phone. How do you ping your phone?
What?
I don't have it on right now.
Oh, okay. So you just look at this. I'm telling you, there are times that I know for a fact I would not have my phone because I find it like underneath my mattress. Like, why is it there? How did it get there? I was just getting ready. Thank you for the ping.
Your phone was like, I need a break. I'm going under here. Yeah. Okay. He was also okay. Here we go. A cell tower had it pinging between 10:30 and 11:30 that night. So he was there earlier.
And the girls, all of them were not there.
They were not there. And it pinged 11 more times before the murders occurred. 11 times between 10:30 and 4 a.m.
And you're a 28-year-old graduate student. Like, you shouldn't be driving. You know what I mean?
Okay, here, I have the exact timeline of pinging. This is what I wanted. At 2:42, it pinged at his house. It was picked up by a cell tower. I need to know the logistics of how this works. I need you to ask Chris and get back with me because... Is it just that you're
connected
to
a network? Yeah.
And it says a tower picks it up, so it's close enough to a tower? I don't. So that was 2:42 at his house. 2:47, it pinged again, indicating that he had begun to travel south through Pullman. Moments later, the phone stopped pinging, indicating that it had been put on airplane mode, turned off.
Okay. So maybe we just answered our own question that it just is when it's on.
It's just when it's on. So at 2:42, it's at his house. 2:47, he's leaving his house, and it gets turned off. Between 4 and 4:20, they died. At 4:48, it pings south again near Moscow. So 4:48, he turns his phone back on.
Why?
Phone at between 4:50 and 5:26, it pings.
This is after.
In the morning. Phone ping shows it's traveling south
again
of I-95 back towards Pullman. Yeah.
So he turns it off the whole time?
Yep. But remember, it pinged at their house like 10:30. So before.
What a loser.
So he was there, went home, came back. 5:30, he's back towards his house. 9 a.m., it pings back on King Road. And then at 9:32, he's back at home again. Oh my! So he went there and back home again
immediately. Like this wasn't like a long drive. This wasn't a long drive.
No. He was home within 30 minutes.
And he went home immediately after.
So he went back there at 9 for whatever reason. Do you think he was checking like to see if the police were all there yet? So if he wasn't,
that was a 30-minute
span. So if he wasn't checking on the roommate, maybe he was driving back to watch, the news and and he was shocked, like, I cannot believe there's no police here yet.
Did it happen? Yeah.
Like if you're expecting the police and the crime scene investigation and nothing's happened yet, do you think as a killer that like irritates you? Like you're like, somebody look at what I've done. Somebody, like, what do you think?
It's so confusing.
Why did he come back?
Why did
it's brazen.
One, did he know that Dylan saw him? So he's like, oh, they should be here. They should be here by now.
You would think you would.
They said that the way that her room was set, that he didn't see her, but I don't know if I believe that. If you're making eye contact with me and I have enough information to tell you that
if
your
she
eyes
saw his face and not just the back of his head, he had to have seen
and
her.
it was dark.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can, the eyebrows.
Unless he was just in like I just killed somebody.
Yeah. Which again,
I don't know what that's like, but like, you would think you'd almost be more hyper alert.
I agree.
And that's the thing.
But he's been following the house. He knows that there's other girls.
He knows they're there.
You're looking, I feel like, I don't know. I don't know. The case is going to be very interesting. I hope that
I hope they allow cameras on at least. You know, I don't need them to show the family. You know, I don't. If they want their privacy, I want to see him, and I want to see what's happening. I need to know what's happening.
Yeah. But thank God for like the investigators on the case. I mean, it was a swift.
Yeah.
Brought to justice. I mean, thank God for videos.
So Dylan, just going back to my notes, Dylan said that she heard Kaylee say, "There's someone here."
Doesn't he say, "I'm going to help you"?
Yeah. So there's someone here. So she looks out her window, saw no one. A few minutes later, she heard crying coming from Xana's room.
Again, this is not crying, like whimpering, like my boyfriend just broke up with me.
I've heard the audio from outside, from the neighbor's house, and it is not like, it's screaming. I mean, it's screaming. And that's like from here to Jackson's room. That's about how far away their rooms are. Yeah.
And I mean, and the wounds being so.
So then she heard a male voice saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." So that's when Dylan said she opened her door and saw the person leaving. So it's like, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." And then she opened her door and he was leaving.
But the door's opening. Again, this wasn't a brand new house. This is, I mean, those are, and she, at this point, from what we understand, didn't think that a crime had occurred. So you're not quiet. I mean, I'm flinging that door open like.
And one thing that I don't know how anyone would know this, but I heard that she like was frustrated and opened it. Was like, "Shut up."
Yeah, well, that's, yeah.
You know, like, be quiet.
She opened it on a third time to
tell them to be quiet. And I'm like, he had to have seen her. Why did he not kill her?
Right. I mean, well, again, and the noise. And again, I am so freaking nosy that if somebody was leaving my, like, Marissa's room, I'd have been like, "Hey, what's up?" You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't have been like frozen in fear.
Yes.
Because this is my house. Again, my guard is down. I'm a college student. I am used to people coming in and out. I don't think that there's danger here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, that would have been my reaction. I don't know. But again, not victim shaming. I don't know. I guess in them, I don't ever want to know how I'd react. Let me just phrase it like that. I don't ever want to know how I'd react.
She's got to... They have to have enough evidence to say she's not involved. So 100%. Maybe she wasn't involved, but she's got to know more.
I agree with that.
Her and Bethany did get tattoos. Have you seen their tattoos?
No.
They did get matching tattoos, and it says MKXE, and it's got like little wings. But that's the only thing that has been heard from them. Especially, there's nothing on Bethany, the person who was in the first floor. There's like, she's called the silent survivor. There's like nothing. There's no testimony. There's no anything. She's just, yeah.
I don't know. I just, like I said, I don't ever want to be in the position to tell you what I would do, because I don't ever want to be in that position. And the police have been great thus far. I mean, there's a reason. Again, there is a reason that they have not.
I hate that it takes so long. Yeah. Like, I hate that it keeps getting pushed back, because originally I was like, trial in June. That's what I thought that it had said. And then it was like October.
Well, and then today you said that they've thrown out. Or today they're the indictment turned over.
So his and I think her name's Ann Taylor, Ann Thomas, Ann Taylor maybe.
Papa Roach.
Follow us for the next album. Is trying to get the indictment thrown out, which would be what the whole what's
charges?
Yeah,
I don't know.
What's the indictment? She's trying to. Whatever they did in secret, the prosecutors went and did something with the grand jury, some kind of evidence. What is?
I don't know.
And she's trying to have that thrown out today.
Maybe he is so brilliant that he know how to, like, I think, go back to Casey Anthony. She lied so much that there was so many lies that the jury could not figure it out. The jury could not. She 100% did it.
Oh, yeah.
But there were so many lies. And I remember being so frustrated. I'm like, you can just tell lies and you just can just do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that maybe he is so smart, and maybe not his actions. That's not what I mean. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but the way that he is causing so much speculation in this
Mm-hmm.
case, like,
Mm-hmm.
and if he gets it,
because that's all they need. They need the roommates to. That's what they want.
yeah.
They said that one of the roommates has something that will.
Yes.
What is that called? Exculpatory evidence.
Yes.
That'll get him off.
Yes, which is what she's fighting so hard against, to not have to testify or something.
Yeah. But like, what could she have seen that would prove his innocence?
Maybe more speculation there. That's
all they want.
Yeah.
So an indictment's the formal accusation that a person's committed a crime. So they want the whole thing thrown out. Yeah. The most serious criminal offenses of felony. Oh yeah. Which requires a formal accusation. Yeah. So she wants the indictment, the whole thing thrown out.
It's got to be hard to defend people you know are guilty. But then also, how do you get 12 jurors that have not seen anything about this case
for so long?
Non-biased opinion.
How, as a jury member, if you're just waiting around, you think you're not looking into the case? I don't know.
Pick the jury.
I
don't know.
Yeah, the official alibi submitted recently was that Koberger was driving alone in a non-disclosed location.
No,
is that really disclosed? The best a lawyer
but
can
I'm
do?
saying, but it's been disclosed.
Yeah, we know. Yep, I think that's pretty much all the notes.
Because you don't just come up to a street, right? If I'm driving around, I'm not pulling up to a house.
There's no way that's times? A coincidence. 11 times.
I'm not pulling up to the house 11 times. I'm driving. Mm-hmm. And also I'm so weird that especially neighborhoods, because I get nervous when I see cars like going up and down our street. Mm-hmm. I'm like that too. I'm like, I'm not going to drive around somebody's neighborhood and then think that.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Well, and that's the thing is like he pulls up, and I think he saw the DoorDash driver.
Stop.
Something. There was some reason he couldn't find a place to park. There was something.
Oh, and he pulled back and backed up,
because he pulled up, backed up, and went around to the back, because he originally pulled up to the front of the house. But the front of their house, that house is weird. Yeah. The front of the house is like a big parking lot.
Yeah. And that's where he was going to park.
Yeah. And then he.
Oh my God.
Backs up, goes around Queen Street. It's like on the other side. Queen Street, and he goes and parks right by the back door. Because you can see it. Like, it's on footage. You can, like, see him going all the way around.
It's not. I just wish that day didn't happen. And I find myself wishing that all the time. Like, I wish that something would have happened that day and they wouldn't have.
You think about, like, butterfly effect, too. Like, what if.
I know.
You know.
The party.
What if Kaylee didn't come back for a weekend?
Yeah. Like.
What if they stayed. Yeah, what if they stayed longer at the party? What if they. Not wishing, but what if they had more to drink and they couldn't have driven and they had to stay somewhere else? You know, like.
Well, and that's what something too, again, and as we finish this up, but I remember one of the parents had said, you know, she did everything right. She didn't drink and drive. Mm-hmm. They were so responsible. And as a parent, especially of a college kid, of a beautiful college student who is, you know, social life, you just want them to do right. And they did it right. And that's what is so frustrating is they didn't, you know, invite some random man, you know what I mean, into their home. It's just, it's not fair. I don't know. I guess we'll find out more.
I know. I'm interested to see how the court appearance goes today. I need them to set the official
court date. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I need there to be cameras in there. Did you watch the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial?
Okay, no, but listen, that didn't interest me at all. I thought it was the most like insane thing but I did go back and watch like the documentaries over it. So
which is basically yeah.
And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me.
Amber Heard is a crazy person.
Do you think she's crazy?
Yes.
I think he's nuts.
Oh, I think she's absolutely nuts.
Oh my! I feel like he is so freaking crazy. I don't know. We could do
a whole episode on that one.
Actually, that would be a fun one to do.
But I just need because it was like on them and they're
the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time, and I heard everything that they had to say. So that's what I need, and I need to hear what he has to say.
Do you think he's gonna testify?
He has to, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't. The prosecutor gets to cross-examine.
If he gets on the stand, which is what a lot of people don't testify in their own court because they have to get cross-examined.
You have the choice to not be asked questions in your own.
And that happens most of the time. They say that it's a big risk if you do. Yeah, it's a big risk if you do.
Okay, but the arrogance of a criminal, do you think he will take the stand?
Well, that's what they say too. There's a lot of people on like ID channel that they'll say the mistake was that they testified. on their behalf.
Now, he didn't even enter a plea himself. He made the judge do it. So he has literally not said a single word. Because they said, do you... And he wouldn't say anything.
That's disgusting.
So
what
when
a
they don't
freaking
say...
idiot.
So when they don't say anything, the judge is forced to enter the plea for you.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he didn't say anything. He stayed silent when they asked, and so the judge said, "Okay, well then if you're not going to say anything, then it is."
He has not said a word.
So no.
Loser.
Yep. Anyway, that is the compelling case of the Idaho Four.
That's a lot to unpack.
I hope some other people can help us make sense of it.
Seriously.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.